Shalom, shalom. This is Brother Nasar. Congrats on the video. Thanks for having me about Shimon Shai. As always, Lord, when I pray these, let's be edifying to the Lord's elect. Prior to get started, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bashim, Shai, Bashim, Kakadash. I want to give double honor to the apostles and elders, great millstone, who teach well. And peace and salutations to God. Come on, full inspiration, truth, and sincerity and diligence. All right, shalom, shalom. All right, I'm not gonna really make this too long. Just ultimately just meditating on this topic, right? And I don't know how I want to title it or how I want to go about titling it, but basically it's centered around, what the fuck, Salakia. All right, basically, I lost my train of thought. Ultimately not being tied to this, being too tied to society. Now I don't want to say too tied, but like being basically tied to this place, mentally, right? You gotta, and spiritually, right? You can't be yoked to this place, man. Right now we know we have to operate in society to make money and ultimately to survive and know how to deal with individuals and and people and be at peace with all men, like the scriptures say. Like the scripture tells us to be wise as serpents, harmless as doves, right? But separating yourself, right? Like the scriptures call for us to do, right? The scripture says, let me get this. Let me start with this. It tells us that we will separate ourselves, right, through our desire, right? So it's Proverbs 18. And verse 1, it says, through desire, a man having separated himself, seeketh and intermeddleth with all wisdom. See, but the point is that I wanted to touch was that separating yourself, right? So through your desire, now the point of bringing that out is that we have to separate ourselves according to our desires, and that's what is going to allow us to do that. Right, is if our desire is to please Yahweh Shemel Shai, we're going to separate ourselves. Right, if you're in the right spirit and the right mind, you're going to separate yourself. If you're in the spirit of things, you're going to be separate from society, separate from the mindset of the corruption of the world. Right, like the scriptures tell us, we're not of the world. You see, so that comes with a whole completely different mindset, in order. Right, what's the one that say, get this. Say if thou desire be in thrones and scepters, right? This is Wisdom of Solomon 6 and verse 21. It says, if thou delight, Salakia, not desire, right? It says, if thou delight be then in thrones and scepters. It says, O ye kings of the people, Salakia, excuse me, honor wisdom, that ye may reign forevermore. Right? So we want to reign forevermore and receive that crown of life that is written about. Right? If we want to receive that immortality, right? If we want to receive, the being of the elect of Yahweh Shemel Shai, right? We got to separate ourselves, man, and not be caught off, too caught off in society and what we got going on, in our lives. Right? Because those things can destroy you. Those things can distract you. You don't want to be too much over here and too much over there at the end of the day, right? But yet doing all things in temperance, utilizing prudence and wisdom, right? I don't know why this music keep turning on, Salakia, right? And I get this, right? And this, this wasn't intended to be a long video, just straight, straight and to the point, This is Luke. This is Luke 17 and verse 31. It says, in that day he shall be upon the housetop. It says, in his stuff in the house, let him not come down, take it away, and he that is in the field, let him likewise return back. Right, and that's ultimately going into the what we're going to have to do, man, because surely things is going to get real difficult and real serious, where we're going to have to leave right? We're gonna have to get off grid. We're gonna have to move around, right? Kind of like when you're reading the Maccabees, right? When Antiochus put out the decree that all should be, lead the laws of their powers and, coming to their gods and bow before their gods and so on and so forth. That first Maccabees, how Antiochus did that. You had Mattathias, how he slew that one Israelite, and it said that he in his zeal, right? He basically let it be known. He said, if you're gonna stand for the laws and the customs and serve our power, right? Follow me. But it said that they went into the mountains, all right? They got out of there, right? Well, using that in a sense, right? So what we're gonna have to do, we're gonna have to get up out of Dodge, man, right? So it says, remember Lot's wife, 32, right? Because they had to get up out of there, right? And we all know the story, right? How she looked back, right? It says, that's why it says, remember Lot's wife, right? Remember Lot's wife, because what the scripture tells us, it says that a standing pillar of salt shall be a monument of an unbelieving soul, right? So what took place with her and her unbelieving soul and having ties to that place and not being willing to let it go, right? She was ultimately destroyed, and that'll be the same fate of you, right? Me, myself too, right? If I'm in the spirit of a Babylonian, man, right? Having a regard or care for Babylon, right? Not wanting to leave Babylon, not wanting Babylon to end, right? Fearing the evil tidings and the things that is going on because you want Babylon to continue, man. The scriptures tells us to fear not evil tidings, man. Evil tidings mean bad news, right? Which really is not bad news, it's good news, right? Persecution, whatever the case may be, that's what we're building up for now, right? You got to pray to Yahweh Shem Yahshua to strengthen you in the spirit, man, so you can be in the spirit of things and see things through the spirit, right? Because that's what we're entering into, to where it's going to be solely on faith and who are you spiritually, right? What defines you? Speaking to myself first, man, right? So it says, remember Lot's wife. It says, whosoever shall seek to save his life shall lose it. So if you seek to preserve your life, you're going to lose it, man, right? It says, and whosoever shall lose his life shall preserve it. Why? Because we're going to be preserved by Yahweh Shem Yahshua. We're going to be in his hands, not touched, not removed out of his hands. But yet we're going to be given everything. We're going to be protected, standing under that pavilion, like the scripture says. So the Lord is going to preserve our lives, man, and allow us to inherit forevermore, eternity. It says, I tell you, in the night there be two men in one bed, and there one be taken and the other shall be left. Two women shall be grinding together, and one shall be taken and the other left. Two men shall be in the field, and one shall be taken and the other left. And they answered and said unto him, Where, Lord? And he said unto them, Whithersoever the body is, thither will the eagles be gathered together. You see, so everybody not gonna make it, man. Everybody not gonna make it. So you're gonna have two in the field and one be taken. Everybody not gonna make it, man. Right? And your goal should be striving to be a part of that elect and a part of those that make it, those that be delivered. But first it starts with, faith, right, in Yahweh Shem Yahshua, right, and separating yourself like we was going into through desire, right, letting Esau go, man, letting his kingdom go, letting his place go. You can't hold on to this. You see, no man can serve two masters. You can't hold on to this. Scriptures tells us that in the times when we're entering the book of 2nd Ezra, says, he that selleth be as he doth not. You got to be able to forsake that job or forsake that that business. It's gonna fail any fucking way. It's gonna be destroyed anyway, man. All this shit is gonna be destroyed, man. There's nothing to hold on to here. There's nothing. Why hold on to a life of a servant? Why hold on to being a life of a slave, man? When we're promised to rule. All right, say, he that keep my words to the end, to him will I give power over the nations. That's what we're promised. So why hold on being service? Nothing to hold on here in this society, man. Right? But right now we're at war. All right, it's a spiritual battle. Right? Just what scripture says, it says mighty through the pulling down the strongholds, right? It's with this word. Right? But the scripture says no man at war entangled himself with the affairs of this life. So we can't, you know what that means? Your mind can't be entangled with society, with the world, your woman, too much with your woman, too much with your kids. That may sound weird to some people, right? But what did Yahweh say? He that loveth his mother, brother, daughter, son, more than I is not worthy. But it just means to love them, like, that don't mean to hate them or not love them. I love my kids, so on and so forth. I love my family, right? My carnal family, my woman, and my sisters and my brother. I love them, right? Right, but they don't come before this ministry. They don't come before this truth. They don't come before Yahweh Shemel Shai, right? What it say? Give not thy son, thy brother, thy mother, thy wife power over thee. Don't give nothing power over you, man. Right? So it says, oh, I think that was it on now. I believe, yeah, that was it on there. That's really all I had. Lord, when I prayed, the point was made, and that it was edifying, man. With that, I'm gonna just close it out. I'm gonna give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bashim Yahushua, Bashim Kakadash. I'm gonna give double honor to the apostle, elders, great millstone rulers as well, and peace, salutation, I come on the forward, push the truth, and sincerity, and diligence. Till next time, shalom.